this generating traffic and then talking about like free offers versus paid offers really goes hand in hand. That conversation does. And you may have seen, actually, I know you just did, Pauline. I think I saw you respond to my story. I did a story recently. I did an email recently about adjusting my own business model a little bit. And it's something that Luke and I are hashing out right now and kind of figuring out the next steps around. So for me, my intention always from the very beginning of this business was to create freedom. And to me, from the very beginning, freedom meant unlimited time to do exactly what I desired with, unlimited financial resources to use as I please. Specifically, I want to create financial freedom. That was always the focus. And for me, financial freedom, I like to define it my own way as financial freedom in terms of how I think about money, feeling free around money, financial freedom in terms of having more than enough money coming in automatically every single month that covers all base expenses plus, desires plus excess left over. That's always been a big focus of mine. And then the freedom of mindset, to be able to feel really clear and present in my life, in my day, and with my loved ones. And something that I realized recently, because I'm always coming back to, those core questions that I often ask all of you as well around like, what's your big vision? What's your message? What is it that you're wanting to create in the world? Really, in short, what do you actually want with your life? Those are questions that I will consistently bring back up to you because they're questions that I consistently bring back up with myself as well. And I can say that throughout the years, there have been desires that have shifted for me, but the desire of freedom has always been there and remained true. And even right now, like Luke and I were talking for about the last hour before this call and really filling into what is it that we desire. If we could have things look exactly how we want and we knew it would work, what would that actually look like? And looking at reorganizing things and simplifying things. And one of the big ones that I'm noticing for myself at this moment is I'm wanting to create even more time and financial freedom. And I think it's important to just keep noticing that even when you get the things you desire or you get aspects of it, it's okay to keep asking and choosing and creating more, right? So my business at this point is really freedom filled. I have 3, 4, 5, I think I have about 6 group calls a month, and then, is that right? Something like that. And then I'll have a couple, one-on-one sessions here and there. And that typically happens within the span of about 3 weeks. And I usually have about a week off from calls each month where we're traveling. So it's like I already have a lot of freedom. The income is already there, but there's been something for me that's wanting it to be even simpler. There's something for me that's craving even more time freedom, even more automation, and financial freedom in terms of knowing that that money is already coming in every single month, just through automated cells and simple funnels. And something that I've been really connected to with this is that there's a lot of automation out there. There's a lot of all of that. But I always want to be able to create automation in a way that feels really connected and soul aligned. So I love to design sequences because what it reminds me of, it's making me laugh that this is what's popping in my head, is do you guys remember when you were a kid, those like choose your own ending stories where like, it was so fun. I'm trying to remember all the different books that did it, but I'm pretty sure some of the R.L. Stine Goosebump books definitely did it, for those of you who read those along with me. But those like choose your own ending stories where you're reading the book and it's like, are you gonna go into the scary haunted house? Or are you gonna walk back out to the street and such and such? If you're going to the scary haunted house, go to page 14. Like, do you guys know what I'm talking about? I loved those books. And the way that I personally approach automation and funnels feels like the choose your own adventure version of online marketing, right? And what I feel with like automation and funnels and these pieces is it allows us to be able to craft and put together the best version of ourselves, the best messaging, the best stories, the best of our resources, content, etc., in a way that we can get it in front of more people, okay? So that's something that I'm looking at the moment, and it's why it brought about this discussion around creating traffic and around low-end like intro offers versus freebies. So as I continue to dig into this more, I have no doubt I will have more and more trainings and guidance and such on this for you as well, because a lot of what I'm testing right now is we have been taught, especially in these online businesses, that you have to have this whole list of things that you're supposed to do in order to be successful. That list of things includes various aspects of social media and actions, etc., from creating your own Facebook group, being active in other people's Facebook groups, creating a podcast, creating a vlog, creating a blog, being on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, God knows whatever other random social media platform has been created recently. And what I hear so often is, one, it feels overwhelming to try to know what you're supposed to do, let alone then go do all those absurd list of things I just listed off. And then in addition to that, even when you're doing them, they're so often that it feels like you're like throwing rocks into like a bottomless well and you never hear them hit the bottom, right? It's just like this empty hole that you're like, is this working? Is someone listening? Is this engaging people? And I just think that we're getting to this point where so many are feeling this way. And I love organic traffic by all means. It's absolutely how I started my business. And I think that there's so much power in building an organic community. There can be so much joy in building a Facebook group. For me in the beginning, I felt really alone. And so having those groups where I could actually go hang out and then building my own was one of my greatest joys. What I found for myself at this point is that I don't crave that as much as I did in the beginning. And so I keep moving more and more and more away from traditional organic marketing and coming to the point where it's like, I'd rather keep it really simple. And for me, what simple looks like is having my business page, my Facebook business page, my Instagram, and then we have Pinterest. And the content that goes onto those just comes from the emails that I already write, that Jocelyn, my social media manager, takes and disperses on those platforms. That's my core way of like being online. And in addition to that, I run Facebook ads consistently. I spend about $100 a day, and that's what I've done for ages with that. That's it. I've started podcasts, and I never stay with them. Maybe someday. Probably not. I've started vlogs so many times and never stuck with it. I've started even like the blog, and it's like I write regularly, but it's just not my focus to feel like I don't want to feel like I'm in school. I don't want to feel like I have homework every Tuesday because that's when I'm supposed to put together the blog or the vlog or the podcast or God knows whatever random thing I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm just curious, how many of you, one, have felt this way as well, whether you feel like you're in this continual looping of chasing and like putting out the posts and having to do the things. And if you are interested in doing it in a different way. And I'm also curious, when I look at doing it in a different way, I look at like social media being here, like that's what I just listed off with my Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, that sort of thing. Press has been one of my focuses this year to diversify. And then ads. And in the beginning, I was not a big fan of ads. I didn't use them for about the first year and a half of my business. And I'm not a big fan of throwing money at ads until you have seen a bit of conversion with either your freebie or your low price offer or whatever it is. But having said that, one of the number one things I hear is people being really frustrated with all of the like busy work of trying to build an audience and trying to build organic traffic and trying to start a podcast and trying to whatever, but then they don't use ads either. And that leaves you with very little options that I'm aware of. For me, if I were to keep moving off of actually being on social media, then I would put a lot on the ads and on the press. I don't think for most people in the beginning, you need to go like big on the press stuff, but you can absolutely be pitching yourself and getting, doing collaborations, doing interviews, doing that sort of thing and getting yourself in front of other audiences. Like collaborate with people who already have an audience. Get on their podcast or interview them on your podcast. Like, do some sort of collaboration that gets you in front of other people's audiences. That's a great way outside of traditional social media to be generating more traffic. But I don't really see any reason, once you have your message, not before, once you have your message, once you have some sort of a freebie or an intro offer, I don't see any reason not to be spending $5 a day on a Facebook ad or paid advertising in some way. Especially if you are a freedom lover like me. Lord knows that I would probably get completely off of Facebook if it wasn't having my business built on here somewhat. But ads on here still work really well. And so I just want to bring that up because I think a lot of times people are like, well, I think I saw that question a little bit ago in the group. Okay, so Alexandra, your question, I might miss some of the call, but I was wondering if you could talk about creating smaller offers like $9 to $37, definitely, and free offers, as I'm currently really stuck into what to create for those. How do I know this is what my ideal client needs? It's not about what they need. It's about showing them who you are, honestly, but we'll go into that more. And then how can I promote them if I have no email list or audience? That's where something like ads are going to come in. If you have no email list, if you have no audience, if you have no following, and you don't want to be hanging out on social media, specifically building a Facebook group, an Instagram following, your own live stream show, something like that, then ads are the option. And I'm super open if you have some other way. But if you don't have an audience, then I would recommend leaning into a little bit of paid advertising. Now, there's a lot of people who just swear by it and throw tons and tons and tons of money at it. I'm not saying that. Start putting together an ad that's running to your freebie or low-priced offer for $5 a day. Every single one of us who is here and serious about having a business can budget $5 a day towards this. Now, if you're in a space where you're like, okay, I just want to really focus on organic, fantastic. But know that those really are your options. If you're going down organic, then it is growing a Facebook business page, doing live streams there on Instagram, growing an Instagram following, growing a Pinterest account. You don't have to do all of them. Use the ones that feel best to you. But there is going to be more time and energy that's going to go into actually organically growing your following in that way, okay? If you're like, I don't want to do that like me, then that's where the ads are going to come in, okay? Now, that leads into this next piece around freebies versus low price paid offers. One of the big reasons that I got so into low price paid offers, well, there's multiple reasons, but one of the big reasons is because people are paying you immediately. So if you're paying for ad spend and you're doing it and you're sending the ads to a super sexy low priced offer that shows your people who you really are and what you're all about, ideally, it's immediately covering your ad spend. Okay? So the first way that I did this was with Journal Yourself Rich, which was a $7 offer. And I used that to cover ad spend. What I realized this year is I was chatting with Amy. She has something called I think it's a slow funnel, a self-liquidating offer. And the way that she approaches it is a $37 intro offer. They usually put like a $17 bump on there and then like a $97 add-on. So people can add all those things or they can just buy the $37 thing. You don't need to have all of that yet. Don't get overwhelmed with like all the pieces. But when I switched from a $7 to $37 thing, I noticed no difference in terms of the number of people signing up. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, it was so much easier to have people sign up for a $7 thing. People were just as easily signing up for the $37 thing, except I was making more than 5 times as much off of every single sell. Not only that, because I was charging a little bit more, I was able to give more in a way that felt good. And that's why I was able to sell like the entire Superflow course for that price point. And so the people who were purchasing that course for $37 were immediately going on to buy other things relatively quickly, often within the first month. Okay?